How you doing today, guys? Wanted to talk about my new acquisition. This is a Emerson CQC-7. I am always completely blown away by the fine people I meet in the knife community. This was a gift to me from a very kind gentleman. Stuff like that is never ever expected. I always really appreciate it, and I do seem to treasure these knives that are gifted to me a little bit more than the others that I've picked up on my own. You know, when I think Emerson, I think more of along the terms of weapon and tactical in nature and stuff like that. I am not usually a big like weapons knife guy. When I think knives, I mostly think EDC stuff, slicing stuff, everyday stuff. I'm just not in that tactical mindset, I guess you could say. But I think it's that I had a piece of my jeans under here, so I was trying to get it loose. You know, when you think tactical knife, just me personally, and maybe a lot of other guys, I immediately think the CQC-7 with the Tanto, with the hook, the wave feature on there, with the hook wave. You know, to me, this is the tactical knife. When I close my eyes and you say tactical knife, this is one of the things that flash in before my eyes. The next might be like a Strider SMF or something a little bit bigger like that. But I just feel like this is that knife, you know. And if I was gonna own a Emerson, I would own the CQC-7. So now I do. And you know what? I'm giving this Tanto a shot. I've carried it this week, and I gotta say, you know, it's not a bad knife profile, blade profile. It's a great knife, but the blade profile is something that I never really thought about giving a try. So this one actually is the CQC 2012 7v. So that means it is V-ground. It is ground on both sides of the knife. In a gorgeous, gorgeous blade finish there. Very good job, Emerson. So you've got this satin finish on the bottom, and then you've got that stone wash on the flats. Really pretty. Like it a lot. Now, if you guys watch or know anything about Ernest Emerson and Emerson knives, he makes no apologies that these are weapons. He produces weapons. You know, you can EDC them, and they do work, and they're very tough. Yes, yes, all of that. But at the end of the day, he is making a weapon. You know, maybe the A100. I've got a couple of those here too. I could show you guys. I didn't bring them down to the table here to show you, but so there's no apologies to that. So would this be the perfect EDC? Would this be better than your small and single Sebenza? You know, better than whatever knife you're currently carrying, better than your paramilitary 2, whatever you have. You know, no, but I don't think he's going for that. In fact, I know he's really not going for that. So he makes it very grippy G10, and this is part of the Prestige series as far as I know. Again, I'm not an Emerson collector, but just from my experience and knowing what's what, this is the Prestige. Has a little bit better fit and finish, and just trying to show that off to you guys. Now, what you're not getting with Emerson, and Emerson is not known for this, you know, is our fanatical knife hobby OCD perfection in fit and finish. So I'm going to show you. You can see where these liners are a little bit rough cut. You can see how they've been cut, and there's a little bit of ridges on there. You can see how the scale material does not meet up exactly 100% flush. And just know that getting into an Emerson, that doesn't change how the knife is, how it uses, you know, its function. Is functionability a word? Probably not. Sounds good though, huh? It doesn't change the usability of this at all. The inside of the liners are finished a little bit rough. Can you see that? Kind of a coarse ground pattern in there. You know, but you're still getting a great tool. If you're looking at this knife as a tool, as a weapon that you can use and rely on, I think, yeah, you know, if you're looking for that. I will tell you, this wave feature works perfectly in my jeans. Every single time. If I pull it out and a little bit backwards, it'll just catch that pocket, sling right out there. I can get to this disc pretty well too. I do kind of wish there was a cutout here. I can add that, no problem, but your everyday person who might buy this might be a little afraid to dig into that G10. Might be nice to have a little bit of a ramp leading into that hole. I would say like this, but you really can't see that because I've got that jade scale on there. Ooh, what do I have here? That. Anyways, you guys know what I mean, right? But I can still get to that disc really easy. The lockup is a little bit early, but my liner locks I like to lock up like this. So this is 100% of that liner engaged on the tang when you really open it up. Maybe 95%. Maybe. Very sturdy lockup. There's no wiggle at all. This is an extremely solid knife. Built out of some fairly thick blade stock. Now, he's still using 154 cm. I don't see him changing that anytime soon. And I believe they just offered this and announced this in the flipper version. So, kind of cool, you know. I'm kind of interested in it. I wouldn't say that I would ever be interested in an Emerson collection, okay? But I think it's awesome to own this piece. I think a serious collection, which I'm not saying I have a serious collection, but even with me not collecting tactical weapons, edged weapons, right? I think this has a home in my collection. So I'm super pumped to have it. I have found when I've been carrying it this week that it works a lot like a Wharncliffe. So it's a pretty good design for EDC too. It's a little wedgy because of how thick this stock is, and you can see how it's ground up here like a saber grind, you know, for this portion of the knife here. But it still cuts. It cuts pretty well. But I found that it acts a lot like a Wharncliffe blade. Like when I go to cut something, a box open, see how that second tip right there, that point kind of digs down into whatever you're cutting. So it acts a lot like a Wharncliffe. What do I even have? I don't have a Wharncliffe here to even show you. You guys know what a Wharncliffe is. And then you've got the thicker tip there to do any sort of prying. So I did have to pry open a wine box. So you can use this a lot like a pry bar. I don't know if Ernest Emerson designed it as such, or if it's just the advantage of having a tactical Tanto style blade profile, you know. But it's a very sturdy knife, and no concern about breaking that tip. The one thing when I do go to sharpen this knife, I'm probably going to put a V-ground edge on it. So check this out. This is the factory edge. Okay, it's a chisel ground edge. So it's got the edge there and nothing on the back. And if you look real closely, maybe my camera will catch it, you can see where it's been stropped on the back side. I can understand, can you see it right there? I can understand why he would do this. It'd be a little bit easier to resharpen in the field, of course, for somebody who's really using this knife as it was designed to be used as a tactical knife with somebody who's, you know, some sort of public service, where you could just sharpen it one way on the stone, and then you just strop it. And then, of course, if you go back and maybe he still has it listed on his website. I know in the past he's had it listed, so I can't imagine he would have took it off. But he actually had like a diagram showing how and why he still uses that chisel edge, because you can actually, I don't know if it's true or not, get a thinner edge so it actually comes a little sharper. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it. So if you take a regular V-ground edge like this, okay, but then you cut it in half and you got that flat portion here. See how this is flat? So take your V-ground edge, but this is coming flat to the steel like a zero ground edge. You're actually taking that same angle, and this is bumping in. So it actually is a little bit thinner behind that edge. You know, I don't know. I'm going to use it like this. Maybe I'll resharpen it this way and see how I like it. And then I'll grind the edge into a true conventional V-ground edge and see if there's any difference. Just from what I can see, it's cut everything I needed it to cut so far. You know, but that's only within about a week's worth of use on it. I think if you was cutting something really thick, then maybe that would show. I've heard that the chisel ground blades, again, not from my experience, I'm talking about where the whole back portion of the blade is flat, and then it's only got the bevel on the one side, that when you cut through something and you cut for quite a bit, they'll want to actually turn in your hand to try to follow that edge grind around. Does that make sense? If this side was flat and this side had the bevel on it, it actually wants to walk its way in a circle, and you kind of got to twist the knife to keep it straight. You know, I have no experience in that, but I do think that this is a winner for my collection. Not just because it was a gift, which is awesome, but I think it's a great knife. The pocket clip has enough room in here. Again, kind of a conventional pocket clip by now. You guys kind of know this pocket clip. That works great. The one criticism I could use, the same thing as your cold steels. When they use this coarse G10, you have to sand underneath that clip to try to knock that texture off. If not, it will rip the crap out of your pants. So I need to do that with this one, so it's not so coarse. Check out this lighting. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. Like this knife a lot. You can see my pocket lint on there. I'm going to keep using it. I've heard that sometimes over a lot of waved deployments and stuff that they can develop a little bit of lock slip. This thing seems solid as a rock. It does have a slight stick to it, but it's the really nice stick. Some people hate stick. I like a little bit. I like this. Hear it? It's just enough. It's very reassuring that it's not going to slip, but yet it doesn't break your thumb to unlock it. I like it a lot. So that's it. That is the CQC-7 V-ground version. To the gentleman who gifted me this, I truly appreciate it. You know, I've always looked at Emerson's and just never really jumped because I didn't really, you know, I'm not really into the weapon side of things. But it is super cool to have in the collection and to carry out. It's cool to know that you can have your knife open in just a tug, faster than an automatic knife. Whoosh, done. You know, and then the Tanto version. This is the blade profile I see in my mind when you say tactical knife. Gorgeous finish. That's it, guys. How do you like Emerson knives? Yes or no? Usually you're not in the middle. Usually you're heck no. And usually you're I can't get enough of them. I do like how this is straight. Grips in your hand beautifully. Comes up on the ramp. They also put some jimping in here to not blow out your thumb if you were to really use this knife. But it certainly adds traction. In the straight handle, you got your ramp here. That jimping's kind of for looks. You see it's kind of rounded there, which I'm cool with. I'm not a big jimping guy, especially when this handle is of a coarse G10. You can see that's a coated clip too. That's not just paint on there. And you guys probably know if you're watching this, all this hardware you can do with regular stuff you can find around anywhere. So it's cool. This is definitely a good one. I can tell this is the Prestige series. It does have a little bit better fit and finish than the standard black versions, the standard runs. And the V-ground makes it a little bit sweeter. Now, if it keeps this chisel ground edge or if I put a V-ground edge, who knows? Well, I'll let you know on that though. Very smooth too. It's not like it's on bearing smooth. It's got a very nice deliberate action. That's it, guys. Again, I truly do appreciate you checking out my videos. Have a good one.